You join me in the Dart Valley on Dartmoor today in a woodland complex called Ausewell and Buckland. Those woodlands are temperate rainforests, and they are truly the most amazing, magical habitats. Only 1% of the globe is temperate rainforest, so it's a rarer habitat than tropical rainforest. And to have the privilege to be in these woodlands is just amazing. And so I want you to join me in trying to celebrate these sites, but actually to understand how important it is for us to restore them and to protect them in the longer term. We're working with the volunteers here today to make some parts of the woodland wetter. And this is an area the volunteers worked in the winter, and they put these brush bundles into the watercourse. And we've chosen this area in particular because it has a species called Royal Fern, which is an important temperate rainforest indicator. And as the climate warms, we know that areas like this are going to be more challenged in terms of drying out. So we're trying to retain the moisture on site. And it's been really successful, and you'll be able to see that in terms of the amount of green growth we've got here. But the volunteers are now working with us today to extend this area further down the hill. You can't get this wrong. We're not only trying to trap the water, but we'll also trap the sediment. So stamping it in is absolutely fine, because the more and more this water gets trapped here, the more sediment we'll capture, and then hopefully we'll capture some of the seed coming off of this, or the spores coming off of this in the winter.
I love it here because basically they bought this site a few years ago. The site's now being extended, and what we're doing, we're transitioning from conifers, which were planted 100 years ago, and I'm assuming native forest was chopped down. So we're trying to reverse that. Some of the conifers are coming out, and we're planting native trees. And this is the sort of almost the final part down here, is holding back the water. And hopefully 50, 100 years, gradually this will convert back to native trees, much more used to the native wildlife than the conifers.
We were able to use a lot of the tree stumps and the brash to block the little tiny trickle that came down here, and instead spread it out and also buffer it with these bundles, so that now we have amazing growth and more habitat for all the animals and insects as well. I volunteer here because it's close to where I live, and because for me trees are very restorative. I just find it very peaceful. In a very unsteady world, I find trees to be very steadying. I've started volunteering for the last couple of years with the Woodland Trust, and I just find it very therapeutic.
I've been at Ausewell for 4 years, grew up in the countryside, so to me woods are just part of what almost should be there. I think it's a real privilege to come here to somewhere that, you know, it has been managed, it's an ancient woodland, it's been managed for centuries, and yet we've had such a devastating effect on it since the Second World War with the conifer plantations. And it's putting your money and your time where your mouth is, and actually coming out here and doing something practical to try and help restore that and enable native trees, native wildflowers and wildlife to come back and just be here and enjoy it.
We've been removing the conifers over the winter, and even in the very first spring we're starting to see oak trees, rowan, cow-wheat all beginning to emerge, and that's all as a result of removing these quite large shade-bearing conifers. The owners of Buckland were inspired by the work that we've been doing to restore Ausewell Wood. This allows us to link this amazing landscape together to restore temperate rainforest. If you've been inspired by what we've shown you today and you want to join us on this journey of restoration, we would love you to donate. So please see the link below, and thank you for watching.